In this video, I'll show you how I order these wedding invitations after they're approved for print. I'll share with you my favorite printer, how I think about production, and how I make sure to avoid any mistakes and make sure I have enough extras and things that I need as I'm working through this order. So we have this proof, and I have another video on how I do these in Dubsado, which is the client management system that I use. And as you can see, we have the full mock-up here, and then we have the individual pieces of the proof. This is the final one that got approved, and the way I know that's approved is we have a yes on all three of these bubbles and then a signature at the end. So this is the proof I'm going to use as I prepare for production, so I make sure I don't miss anything or ignore any changes that might have occurred as we were going through the proofing stages. I'm always going to make sure every single change is made on the final proof that's approved. So even if they click, oh, approved, but can we change the envelope to pink or something, I'm going to make sure I send them a proof with that information so I have it fully signed off on. So the first thing I'm always going to do is fill out my production sheet. This is a PDF, and there's going to be a download link in the description. If you want to use this, you can also create your own pretty easily. So here's an example of how I would fill this out for this particular order. I'm going to put in her name, her ideal mail date, and the wedding date. These are two things that I might have to do to these invitations, but I make sure to cross those out if I'm not doing them or circle them if I am doing them. I have her proof approved date, so I can just keep in mind how much time I have left. And then I'm going to include everything that's in the suite. These are the ones that are already on there. You can always add more or take some things off, whatever you need to do for this suite. And I always want to order a certain number of extras. I order 5 extras of pretty much every piece, but I don't need any extras of the envelopes because on this particular proof, she's not doing any addressing, so I just need blank envelopes. I don't need any extras of those. And on the liner, I am going to order 10 extra because I actually have to paste those into the envelopes and I can mess up sometimes. So I'd rather have a few extra on anything that I'm going to have to do anything to. The invite, RSVP, etc. I'm just putting those into cards. So I'm not necessarily doing anything with those. And I don't need as many extras in that case. So I went through and filled everything out, and this can take a while. I don't think you need to see how I do this for every step because it's pretty obvious, but it will help you so much in not making mistakes because you'll question how many you need. You'll question, oh, how many extras do I need? Did I get the right size? Is that which color is for the bigger envelope? Which color is for the smaller envelope? Where am I ordering all this stuff? So it just helps you question all these different decisions. And then what I like to do is also just include when I ordered it. We're going to order all of this today together and the price of when I ordered it, which I'll fill in as I go through this order. So that then I can compare that back to the invoice and make sure my pricing is as needed and my expenses matched the profit that I need to make on this order. So now it comes to file setup. This is a fairly simple one. This is all digital printing, and I have some other videos that will show you how to do file setup for letterpress or foil printing. So first thing I'm going to do is save as a version of this file that is just going to be called the same thing, but we're going to say print ready. And then I'll also make sure she has a print ready folder within her folder, and we'll save this in there. The reason we save this is because we're going to make some changes to this file that we don't want to be made if we need to go back and do anything in the future if there was a typo or something. The main thing we're going to do here is select all of the text. So you can do select object and do all text objects, and we are going to create outlines. The reason we're going to outline the text, this creates a vector path out of the text, so it's no longer editable, and that's why we saved that original file, but it's going to help it print better. And also, if someone tries to open your file but doesn't have the fonts that you used, it will allow them to still open the file without screwing anything up. Otherwise, they might replace a different font or you might get an error in there. The next thing that we want to do is delete any kind of templates and release any clipping masks. So I will delete this template. This one, as you can see, we have a clipping mask. I have another video on these if you're not sure what those are, to show the shape of this piece, but we want to make sure we release that. So we're printing the full object and then cutting, die cutting to the shape of that liner, but we don't want this black outline. So we want to make sure and delete that. Now, if we have any bleeds, which is anything that goes off the edge of the paper in the design, we want to make sure those are extended all the way to the red line, such as in this case, this leaf is going to go off. So I want to make sure it's extended at least to the red line. This is something that I have another video on again, if that is confusing to you. And then I think we're good on everything else, and we have no address printing with the suite, so it's a little bit easier to order. Now we're going to save each artboard out as its own PDF for all the printed pieces. This is how my printer requires it, my favorite printer, which I'm going to show you in a minute. However, if you're using a different printer, just ask them how they prefer their files to be sent to you. And if you are sending them via an Adobe Illustrator file, then you might need to embed the graphics or package this file up. There might be some more complex things you need to do, but most printers that I use just require a PDF because it avoids some of those steps. So we're going to save each one as a PDF. So I'll start with artboard 1, which is the liner. So save as. And we're in that print ready folder under Lauren's name. So we don't necessarily need to include her name and all this stuff on this file name. I'm just going to call this liner because it's in the folder. We already know, all the rest of that information, and we're not going to be using these files after we order today, or we can go back into that folder really easily and find them if we need them. So the big thing that I need for my printer is that I do need 0.125 bleeds on all 4 sizes. Again, I have another video on this if you're not sure about that. So I'll save this PDF. And then that's really all that we need to do. My printer doesn't require trim marks or anything else, but if yours does, you can change those settings in the Save As dialog box. And then we will repeat these steps with the invite, which is artboard number 2. My face keeps being in the way. And all of our settings will stay the same between each artboard as long as you don't close out the file or anything. But the only thing I did here was usually this preserve Illustrator editing capabilities is checked. I usually uncheck it because I don't want the file to be larger than it needs to, and I find that helps with file size. And then again, just making sure those bleed settings are turned on. Okay, so that's number 2. We'll do number 5, which is the details card. So again, we can just name it details. Do number 5, and then we'll do 6 as the RSVP card. But we don't actually need to save out the envelope artboards because we'll just be ordering those directly. All right, then when we go into order, we are going to refer back to this sheet. We're ordering everything from PW, which stands for PrintsWell. They are my favorite printer. I have a ton of videos on working with them here on my channel. And if you do use my link or tell them Laney sent you, you'll get $25 off of your first order. They're a wonderful wholesale printer for stationery designers. So I'm logged into PrintsWell here, and the first thing we'll click is Start Order. It's very simple. And then you'll just follow these prompts basically. So we'll start with the invitation, and we need 155 of those on the 120 eggshell ultra white size A7. So let's start. We'll go with a flat card sized A7, 120 eggshell ultra white. This drop down is for if you're printing on the back, which we are not. So we'll just do printing on the front. And then we can select our quantity, which we want to order 155, and our pricing is going to be right there. So we'll select this product, and I love this ordering system because it really takes you through all the steps. You can't accidentally forget to provide the quantity or the size or the type of paper or something. It's going to tell you if there's an issue. Then I'm going to just upload this piece. So in this folder, since we're in here, we don't need all that extra information in the file names. We just need invite, liner, RSVP, etc. It makes it really easy to work through these. I always find that this preview looks a little blurry on my end, but that doesn't affect print quality. It's nice to have this here though, because it verifies that you uploaded the right file and there's nothing wonky about it. So in this case, we are going to order envelopes as an add-on to this invitation. You don't necessarily have to do that, but we are going to order those, and we will select our racing green. And as a reminder, we actually only want 150 of the envelopes, not 155, because we don't need extras of these. And then we're not going to do any envelope printing, but as you can see, they can do white ink because this is a really dark envelope. They can also do CMYK ink on lighter colored envelopes. And then would you like liners for these envelopes? We're also going to go ahead and order our liners here. It's nice that you can do this all as one product together, so you don't have to start over on a new product. They will also line your envelopes for you for a fee, and it adds an additional day to your order processing. I'm not going to do that because I want to order them. I want to line them myself. We've uploaded our liner file. And then, so all of this, the envelope, the invitation, and the liner are all here ready to go. The one thing I'm noticing though is we did want to get a few more liners. So I might actually end up ordering those separately, just because we're only getting 150 envelopes. I'll order 100, let's see, what do we want? 160 liners in case we mess up. So I'll actually just go through and order those separately. But if you don't need those extras, you can absolutely do that. And then this line item is 116.61. So this does include the envelope as well. But that's okay. I'll just put it here, and then I'll just put 0 for the envelope since we ordered those together. Now we'll do the same thing with our liners, just so we can get those extra 10 that we want. Okay, and that's 53.28. So we'll fill that in here. 28. And then I'll speed through doing the rest of them because I don't think that you need any more info, but we'll do the RSVP as a 4-bar, also get the envelopes in there, and then we'll also do the details card. Okay, so now we have our full order ready to go, and we're just going to go back through and check everything. The things that I'm checking are the size. You don't need to check as much because if you had uploaded something in the wrong size from what you saved it as, like it would have told you that, so it's less likely they have an error there. But we will check our quantity and we'll check our paper in case we accidentally selected the wrong paper, because that can happen. So we have our 120 eggshell ultra white, we have 155, and then we have 150 racing green Euro flat envelopes. Sounds great. We have our 3.5 by 5, 120 eggshell ultra white, 155 on our details card. Eggshell ultra white, 155 RSVP cards with 150 of the mid green. And I'll just look back over here to make sure we wanted the racing green, which is the darker, for the larger envelope, and the mid green for the smaller one. I just want to make sure I didn't confuse those. And then we have our liners at quantity 160 with smooth bright white. Now here at the bottom, you're going to see all of your different shipping options, and it's just really easy to see. So shipping is $21.95. If we wanted to switch it to 2-day, then you can see right here, it's just going to go up to $42.95. If we want to switch to overnight or something, you can see all of those different options. I just need ground here. And then you can see the standard ordering process time is 2 to 3 business days. And then you have the option to do rush order processing if you need to, which will cost different based on how many items you have in your cart. And I've taken all of these prices and moved them over here. And then at the bottom, you could also add in like your shipping cost and your order fee. On the top of every invoice, there's just $2.24 as an order fee. And then our shipping cost is $21.95. So I might just add both of those in here, so that when I'm going back and looking at my invoice that I charged the client, I can make sure I include the full total cost. So the total cost of this order is $288.15, which is somehow 1 penny off from this. I'll have to check my math. I probably made a typo. But basically the exact same as we have here. So absolutely love working with PrintsWell because all of their pricing and information is just super easy. Their ordering system is so easy to use and will tell you if you make a mistake in file size or not adding the bleeds or something like that. If you do end up working with them, make sure you tell them Laney sent you so you get $25 off your first order. But I hope this was helpful. You can grab this production sheet as a PDF in the download below this video. Here's an example of this one all filled out, and I hope this helped you understand how to take something from a beautiful proof-approved mock-up and actually get that order placed and on its way to you. I can't wait to see these in person. Thanks, everyone.